Most people walk into a casino to try their luck. But that night, luck wasn't on Jason Statham's side. She was. The dealers, the cameras, the armed security. Nobody saw the man creeping through the crowd, with a gun hidden under his jacket. Nobody, except the waitress serving table 7. One look at Jason's reflection in the polished poker table. One flicker of movement behind him. And her heart dropped. She didn't scream. She didn't freeze. She moved. And the moment she grabbed Jason's shoulder, the entire casino learned the truth. Sometimes heroes don't carry badges. Sometimes they carry trays. Before we continue, I want to take this chance to thank you for being here with us. Your support means the world. Every like, every comment keeps these stories going. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we'd be honored to have you join the family. Now let's get back to the story. The Bella Vista Grand Casino came alive at night. Chandeliers glittered like stars trapped in glass. Roulette wheels hummed with the steady rhythm of dreams rising and crashing. Dealers in crisp vests moved like magicians, shuffling the hopes of every gambler brave enough to sit at their tables. Security guards marched the floor with polished earpieces and straightened spines, believing the illusion that they were in control of everything. But inside a casino, nothing is ever what it seems. And that night, out of all people, the only person who saw the danger coming wasn't wearing a suit, a badge, or a weapon. She was carrying a tray. Her name was Elena Lopez, and after 4 years of graveyard shifts, sticky countertops, and entitled customers who snapped fingers instead of saying thank you, she thought she had seen everything. But the moment he walked in, she knew it wasn't just another night. Jason Statham didn't blend into crowds. Crowds bent around him. He moved with the kind of presence that wasn't taught. It was earned, forged, carved into someone by a lifetime of surviving things normal people never even imagined. But tonight, he wasn't here to be famous or to command any room. He was here quietly, no entourage, no attitude, no spotlight. Just him and a small team of security that the casino insisted on attaching to VIPs. Elena watched as he sat down at a private poker table and nodded politely to the dealer. He wasn't the type to drink, wasn't the type to boast, and he definitely wasn't the type to flirt with waitresses or make their night harder than it already was. Which made him rare. She liked rare. As she moved between tables, balancing drinks with muscle memory, Elena kept stealing glances. Not because he was famous, she'd served celebrities before. Not because he was handsome, though he definitely was. But because he looked tired. Not physically tired, soul tired. The kind of exhaustion only people who carried too much responsibility felt. She recognized that kind of exhaustion. She had lived it. Her father had always said, some people walk through life carrying their own weight. Some carry everyone else's. Jason looked like the second kind. And maybe that's why, when the danger began, she noticed. It was a tiny thing, just a trickle in her peripheral vision. A man slipping in through the side entrance. Most people wouldn't think twice. Casinos were full of people slipping in and slipping out. But not like this. Not with those eyes. Not with that posture. Not with that hand inside his jacket like a man, steadying something heavy and deadly. Security didn't glance at him. They were too focused on the tables, the cash, the usual troublemakers. But Elena's heart stuttered. Every instinct she had screamed one thing. That man isn't here to gamble. She tried to shake it off. She tried to rationalize. Maybe he's cold. Maybe he's nervous because he's losing money. Maybe he's just. Then Jason shifted in his seat. He leaned over to examine his cards, and as he did, the man's posture changed. The hand inside the jacket tightened. The eyes narrowed. The jaw locked. This wasn't paranoia. This was preparation. Elena froze mid-step. Her tray trembled in her hand. Ice cubes clinked against glass. "Hey, waitress." A drunk banker waved for his 5th whiskey. She didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed glued to that man, that shadow, that threat. And then the truth hit her like a slap. He wasn't looking at the casino. He wasn't looking at security. He wasn't looking at anything except Jason. He was here for one man. Her breath left her body. The man drew closer, weaving through tables. Slow, smooth movements. The kind of movements that belonged to someone who'd done this before too many times. Nobody noticed. Nobody cared. Nobody even raised a brow. Security wasn't watching. The cameras were pointed at the money. Customers were too busy losing or celebrating. But Alina noticed. The weight of that realization hit her all at once. She was the only person in the entire casino who saw it coming. Her chest tightened, her mind raced. Call security. Run. Shout. Do something. But her voice wouldn't come out. Alina had been invisible too long, ignored, talked over, stepped around. She had lived her whole life as the person nobody listened to. Her hands shook. Her throat felt glued shut. But then she made a mistake. She looked at Jason. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't relaxed. His eyes were narrowed, focused, not at the shooter but at the table, calculating his next move. Completely unaware. And that was the moment Alina's fear turned into something else. Something deeper. Something stronger. She remembered her father again. When you see something wrong, you don't wait for a hero. You become the first one to move. Her decision was instant. Her legs moved before her mind caught up. She closed the distance between them, weaving through chairs and gamblers, her tray practically rattling against her fingers. Her breath was shallow, her pulse hammering in her ears. But she kept going. The man behind Jason raised his arm. The gun glinted beneath the casino lights. His finger curled in. Jason. Her voice cracked the air like a whip. Jason's head snapped up, startled. But he didn't see her. He saw her reflection. In the slick green glass of the poker table, he saw what his security missed, what the casino missed, what only one waitress caught. The gun. Raised. Aimed. Ready. Alina didn't think twice. She lunged forward and shoved Jason down with everything she had. The tray in her hand clattered across the table, drinks spilled, chips scattered like rainfall. Customers gasped. Security spun too late. A gunshot split the air. The sound echoed like thunder, trapped inside crystal walls. Jason crashed onto the table, barely avoiding the bullet. Alina's shoulder slammed beside him, pain shooting through her bones, but adrenaline swallowed it whole. Then silence. Not the quiet kind. The heavy, suffocating kind. Jason rolled, scanning the room, eyes sharp with the cold focus of a man built for danger. The shooter hesitated, just long enough for Jason to move. With one powerful grab, Jason caught the waitress's arm and pulled her behind the table, shielding her with his body. Stay down, he growled, low, controlled, and terrifyingly calm. His security scrambled, chairs fell, gamblers screamed and ducked under tables. But Alina couldn't move. Her breath trembled, her hands shook violently. She had no training, no experience with violence, no reason to get involved. Except she couldn't watch someone die when she had a chance to stop it. Jason looked at her, really looked at her for the first time. You saw him, he said quietly. She nodded, eyes wide. You saved my life. Her heart almost stopped at the weight of those words. But the moment wasn't over. The shooter was still there, stepping closer, angrier, more desperate. His plan was ruined, and ruined men were dangerous men. Security tried to intercept him, but he moved with sharp, practiced precision. He wasn't some amateur. He wasn't some drunk with a grudge. He was trained. He was fast. He was here for blood. Jason's jaw tightened, his muscles coiled, he shifted, ready to fight. But Alina grabbed his sleeve, her voice barely a whisper. There's more. Jason froze. More what? More men, she whispered. Behind the slot machines, they came in with him. I saw them circle the room earlier. They're waiting. Jason's eyes darkened. He wasn't just being targeted, he was being ambushed. And the only reason he knew was because a quiet waitress saw what 6 trained guards didn't. Jason placed a steady hand over hers. Then we handle it, he said. Not you. Not I. Wait. The casino lights flickered overhead. Security braced. Gamblers panicked. And the shooter raised his weapon for a second shot. When Jason Statham finally stood up. Slow. Deliberate. Deadly. Alina felt the temperature of the room change. It wasn't fear. It wasn't anger. It was inevitability. The kind that arrives when the wrong people choose the wrong target. On the wrong night. For a split second, nobody in the casino breathed. The shooter froze with his gun raised. Jason stood tall, muscles coiled, eyes locked on the threat. Alina clutched the edge of the poker table, heart pounding so loud she wondered if everyone could hear it. Then, everything exploded at once. Security lunged. Gamblers ducked. Chairs clattered across polished floors. But the shooter didn't fire, not yet. His eyes flicked left. A tiny signal, too small for most people to notice. Jason noticed. Alina did too. And behind the slot machines. Movement. Two men emerging. Hands inside jackets. Predators stepping out of the shadows. Jason muttered under his breath, "You were right." The first shooter snarled. He wasn't supposed to have time to react. Jason smirked. "I don't need time, I just need aim." With lightning speed, he shoved the table forward. Chips flew like confetti, cards ripped through the air. The heavy wooden table slammed into the shooter's legs, knocking him off balance. The gun fired, but the bullet shattered a chandelier instead of Jason's skull. Glass rained down like glittering shards of chaos. The room erupted. Alina gasped, flinging her hands over her head as crystal fragments peppered the tables. Jason reached for her again, pulling her to safety behind a toppled chair. "Stay low," he ordered, his voice calm even when the world was. The second and third shooters rushed forward. Security scrambled to intercept them, but Jason moved faster, not with panic, but with the smooth, deliberate precision of a man who knew exactly what every second of a fight meant. He leaped over the broken table, grabbed the first shooter by the wrist, twisted hard. Crack! The gun dropped. The shooter screamed. Jason didn't slow down. He grabbed the weapon midair, pivoted, and aimed at the second man charging near the blackjack pit. Alina watched, breathless, terrified, amazed. Jason didn't fire. He threw the gun. Like a spear. It spun through the air and smacked the gunman across the forehead, sending him crashing into a slot machine. The machine beeped, chimed, and then hilariously screamed. Jackpot! Under any other circumstance, Alina might have laughed. The third shooter hesitated. He'd expected panic. He'd expected chaos. He expected an easy kill. Not this. Not Jason Statham turning a casino floor into a tactical battlefield. Jason walked toward him. Slow, purposeful, unhurried, like a man who had already calculated the outcome. "Drop it," Jason said. The shooter panicked. "Back off. I wasn't talking to you." Before the gunman realized what that meant, Jason's security team pounced, finally moving with the urgency they should have had 10 minutes ago. They tackled the shooter, knocking his weapon away, forcing his face against the polished floor. Jason didn't even look at them. His attention snapped immediately to Alina. She was still crouched behind the poker table, trembling, holding her elbow where a shard of glass had grazed her. Jason hurried toward her, crouching down. "You hit?" he asked. "No, just scratched," she swallowed hard. You almost got shot." "You stopped that," he said simply. She shook her head. "I just noticed." Jason held her gaze. Most people don't notice until it's too late. Security guards finally ran over, breathless, flustered. Sir, are you all right?" Jason didn't respond. Not right away. He stood, eyes sharp with disappointment. "You're trained, paid, armed." His voice was low, dangerously low, and not one of you saw 3 shooters enter the building. The guards glanced at each other, ashamed. Alina tried to speak up. "They were busy with the tables, I don't think they." Jason cut her off gently. "They didn't notice. You did, that's the point." The casino manager sprinted over next, sweating bullets. "Mr. Statham, sir, we are so incredibly sorry for this. What happened? Who were these men? We will." Jason raised a hand, silencing him. "Take care of your staff," he said, "especially the ones who actually protect people." He nodded toward Alina. The manager blinked, confused. Alina looked like she might faint. Jason reached for her arm, guiding her away from the chaos, as police and paramedics flooded in. "Come on," he said, "you need a breather." She followed him to a quieter corner near the staff hallway entrance, away from the flashing lights and ringing slot machines. The adrenaline was wearing off. Her hands shook. Her knees felt weak. "Sit," Jason said softly. She obeyed. Jason crouched to her eye level again, this time not checking her for injuries, but checking her pulse, her breathing, every sign of shock. "You all right?" he asked. Alina nodded, then immediately shook her head. "I don't know," she whispered. "My brain hasn't decided yet." Jason smiled, a small warm thing that softened everything about him. "That's normal." She exhaled shakily. "Were they after you? Why?" Jason didn't answer right away. He looked back toward the chaos, security wrestling zip ties around wrists, detectives stepping in, guests being escorted out. Finally, he said, "I've made enemies. It comes with the job." It wasn't the full story, but Alina wasn't owed one. She understood that. "Why tonight?" she asked quietly. Jason shrugged. "People who want to hurt you rarely send a memo first." That made her laugh unexpectedly. He smiled again. But the moment didn't stay light. Jason's expression shifted, serious again. "You saw danger before anyone else did," he said. "That takes instinct most people don't have." She flushed. "I just pay attention." "No," he said gently. "You care enough to pay attention." No one had ever said that to her before. Not like it mattered. Not like it meant something. She looked away, blinking back an emotional swell she didn't expect. "I'm just a waitress," she said quietly. Jason shook his head. "No, you're the reason I'm still standing. That's not just anything." Before she could respond, the casino manager returned, breathless, frantic. "Alina, you're okay? Oh, thank God. Listen, management wants to speak to you. The police too. And you'll need to fill out an incident form and—" Jason stood. Straight. Tall. Quietly intimidating. "Not now," he said. The manager froze, but— "She needs a minute." The authority in Jason's voice wasn't loud. But it was absolute. The manager stepped back immediately. Jason turned to Alina again. "You don't have to be interviewed until you're steady. Take the time." She nodded, grateful. Then something shifted in Jason's expression, something unreadable, thoughtful. "Why did you choose this job?" he asked suddenly. The question surprised her. She shrugged lightly. "My mom's medical bills. Someone has to help. The casino pays well if you can handle the pressure." Jason considered that. "You handle pressure better than half the people with actual training." Alina smiled weakly. "I don't know about that. I was terrified." Jason nodded. "Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's what you choose to do with it." Her chest tightened. No one had ever spoken to her that way, as if she wasn't invisible, as if what she did mattered. Before she could respond, police officers approached with notebooks. "Mr. Statham, Miss Lopez, we need statements." Jason helped her stand. "Take your time," he whispered near her ear. The officers escorted them to a quieter corner, while paramedics rolled the injured gunmen out in handcuffs. Alina gave her statement first, stumbling through details, voice shaking at times. Jason stood beside her the entire time, arms crossed, protective presence unmistakable. When the officer finally thanked her and closed his notebook, Alina felt the exhaustion hit her like a tidal wave. The moment the danger ended, the wait began. Jason saw it immediately. "You should go home," he said. "Get rest." She nodded slowly. "They'll probably ask me to finish the shift." Jason raised an eyebrow. "Alina," he said softly, "if they try that, I'll shut this place down myself." She burst into laughter. It felt good. Too good. Jason looked at her and something flickered in his eyes. Respect, admiration, something deeper. He stepped closer. "Thank you," he said, "not just for noticing but for acting." She swallowed. "Anyone would have." "No," he said firmly, "not anyone, just you." Her cheeks burned. "Jason." He shook his head. "You don't owe me anything, but if you ever need something, anything, you call me." She opened her mouth to respond, but a detective called out, "Mr. Statham, one more minute." Jason sighed, then gave her a small, reassuring nod. "I'll be right back." As he walked away, Alina leaned against the wall, trying to process everything. She had stepped into danger without thinking. She had saved a man whose job was saving others. She had seen what professionals didn't. And now, Jason Statham himself was thanking her. When Jason returned, security escorted him toward a private exit. But before leaving, he searched the casino floor, eyes scanning until they found her again. Alina lifted her hand faintly. Jason stopped, turned, and gave her a slow, deliberate nod. A nod that said, "You weren't invisible today. You mattered, and I won't forget what you did." Then he disappeared through the exit, leaving Alina standing in a quiet corner of the Bella Vista Grand, shaken, exhausted, and forever changed. Because heroes don't always wear suits, badges, or carry weapons. Sometimes, they carry trays.